feel free to take it away. Oop, you're on mute. You are still on mute.
I did all that talking for nothing.
Okay, you're good.
Like I was saying before, my name is Andre Fairley. I'm here at RTP. Definitely here to make everybody's job, as painless as possible. We're here to help here at RTP. A lot of people are kind of nervous or scared when it comes down to these grants, and we're here to make it more comfortable. We'll make it as comfortable as we possibly can for you. I have a slide that I'm going to show, and I'm going to kind of run through it so everybody can ask their questions if they have any questions. Start this PowerPoint. Okay. What it's going to go over is ASAP. Everybody who deals with grants, ASAP is how you get your funds. ASAP is where you get your payments. ASAP is where you go.
Sorry, Andre, we're not seeing a slide or anything if you're sharing.
Oh, let me share my screen then.
All right. That's good.
Good. All right. Okay. So first thing we're going to go over is ASAP, an overview of it, enrollment process of it. Drawing down your funds will be next. Book entry adjustment. We won't spend too much time on those. FFR closeout and returning funds is what the agenda is today for this PowerPoint. Okay, so just a quick run through of things that make life easier for yourself. And if you ever fall into any pitfalls or anything, just give us a call and we'll help out as much as we possibly can. All right, so first thing is ASAP. ASAP enrollment overview. U.S. Treasury system is ASAP. Over 65 federal agencies use ASAP. Everybody has their own ALC. So the EPA has their own ALC as far as ASAP goes. It's paperless. If you go and make a draw long as this before 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will get it that day if it's 1 million or less. Otherwise, it will be the next day when you receive your funds. All right. We all use ASAP. We all have parts to play. The federal agency does. ASAP has their part, and the recipient itself has parts they have to play to get this done. Okay. As far as the federal agency goes, as far as what we do, we initiate enrollment. We create the grants. Once enrollments are done, we increase or decrease funds. It all depends on what awards come in and or new amendments come in. We change administrative information and end dates. We can change POCs now. If one of the POCs end up leaving and you need a new POC, we can do that, and we close grants in ASAP. What ASAP does, they complete the enrollment process. Okay, once we initiate it, you should receive the email from ASAP and telling you what to do as far as the enrollment process goes. They issue user ID and passwords. They reset passwords. They add and delete users, and they walk users through draws, book entry adjustments, training, whatever you may need is what ASAP does. Okay. Recipient enrollment. After the grant is awarded, RTP will enroll new recipients into ASAP. Okay. Enrollments based on key contact payee listed on the SF424 grant application. Whoever the payee is on your grant application is who we make the point of contact in ASAP. Okay. After we initiate that and make that point of contact, ASAP will email the point of contact with the next steps. So on right here, they will initiate that point of contact, and then the head of the organization, whoever they give that role to, they will give out everything else. Any other point of contact, the financial office official, authorizing official, and if payment requesters, we all need payment requesters, so you can have as many as you want. I would suggest having a good 3 or 4 just in case somebody leaves and you're not depending on one person, and people who do inquiry only. ASAP Communities communicates with recipients via email. There are 6 steps you're going to have to go through to complete your ASAP enrollment. Each step has to be done before you can go to the next step. And if it is not completed within 45 days, it's going to delete your enrollment, and we're going to have to do this initiation process all over again. What we end up having is people wait until they get that last email saying, hey, you got 10 days before your enrollment process is going to be deleted. Now people are kind of jumping over hoops. We just suggest that you go in and as soon as you get the email, just start going through the process of it. It's fairly simple. Just get it completed so we can give you your funds so you can start making drawdowns. Okay, this is also the recipient enrollment process. Like it says, EPA initiates recipient organization enrollment. The point of contact names organization officials. The head of the organization approves those officials. Authorizing officials define recipient profile. Authorizing official defines recipient organization of users. And last but not least, your banking data has to be verified. After the financial official defines banking information, ASAP sends the EPA an email confirming the enrollment. That's when they let us know that your ASAP is done. You've done those 6 steps, and now we can go into ASAP and actually create your account. The enrollment is completed. It takes 7 to 10 business days for ASAP to verify the banking data before funds can be available to you. All right, drawing funds, some of the fun part. Okay, this policy right here, EPA policy reign 2018-G06-R. Please become familiar with it. All recipients must use ASAP. That's how you get your funds. That's the only way you're getting funds with the EPA. You got to go through ASAP. This policy comes into play. It says a lot of things, but let me just say it like this. If you do not draw 100% of your funds at one time, okay? Or matter of fact, let me go ahead and restate that. Don't draw more than 90% of your funds at one time, because then you're going to get an email from us and we're going to ask you, hey, you're not supposed to draw those funds down that quickly. Did you use all your funds within that 5 days? It allows you up to 5 days to use those funds. If you have not used your fund within those 5 days of excess funds, it must be returned to the EPA. So this is a big pitfall that happens, and it's just more paperwork for you, the recipient than anything. Is now you have to go and send a check in or go into pay.gov and send the funds back you didn't use. I just suggest don't take all your funds at one time. Okay, or 90%. Don't take more than 90% at one time. All right. When it comes to statuses in ASAP, there are 4 of them. It's open. That's from the start to end dates of your grant budget period. Okay. Then it's the liquidation. At the end of the budget period, you have 120 days to get all your paperwork together and make all your final draws. Okay. On that 121st day, then ASAP is going to be suspended. That is the next one. When it's suspended, you can't go into ASAP and make any more draws. We will not open it back up until you send your final FFR, your SF425. Okay, then we will open it back up for you to make your final draws if you have any to make. Last thing we do is once all the draws are made and once we have your SF425, we will close the ASAP grant. This is just a quick overview of how to make the payment requests. We have a PowerPoint and a couple other aids that really will break it down slowly for you. This really isn't it's just really just to show you what it looks like, but we have a PowerPoint and other aids that really will help you step by step. All right, book entry adjustments. Book entry adjustments. It does not initiate a payment request. What a book entry adjustment normally is if you have a site code, you have two site codes and you overdraw on one of them, you have to do a book entry adjustment to correct the funds and put them back the way they should have been put in the first place. So if you overdraw, we're going to send you an email saying, hey, in GPass, you made a payment for, let's say, $100,000. And you have two site codes, and let's say they were 50-50. You had 50,000 on one site code and 50,000 on the other site code. And you took 60,000 on one when it should have been 50-50. We're going to send you an email saying you expended too much, and now you got to go and correct that. That's what a book entry adjustment does. Okay. Right. Accounts are decreased by the same amount. Other accounts are increased. So a book entry adjustment will always be, if your book entry adjustment is $1,000 that you have to increase, then you're going to decrease $1,000. They're always going to be the same. You're never going to do a book entry adjustment with two different numbers. Does not adjust the available balance in the recipient's bank account. It does not do that. Okay. For accounts being decreased, the resulting available balance must be greater than 0. All right, running through this. FFRs, okay? One of the biggest pitfalls when it comes to recipients is FFRs. You know, that's the meat and potatoes. It is at the end of your grant. It is showing all your expenditures. Everything has to line up. If it doesn't line up, we're going to send emails, and then you're going to send emails, you know, but it is a work in progress. We understand that, and please believe me, people mess up on them every day. We're here to help you correct it and get it right. Okay. Interim FFRs, no more than quarterly, no less than annually. Okay. Awards and terms conditions outline frequency, submitted on quarterly period end dates, which is 3/30, 6/30, 9/30, and 12/31. Must be submitted within 30 days after reporting period end date for quarterly, semi-annual reports, 90 days for an annual report. Final FFRs close out within 120 days from the end of that budget period. And that is in that liquidation status what we were talking about. You submit your report, you complete your final draws. After 120th day, grant suspends the grant is suspended in ASAP. You are no longer allowed to make any draws unless we have your SF 425. Then we will go back in ASAP and open it up probably another 2 weeks to 30 days, and enough time for you to go in and make your final draws. You know, it all depends on what your SF 425 says and if you're allowed to make any more draws. Includes all costs from inception of the grant, interim and final SF FFR submitted to the RTP office, and this is the email address for anything you have Region 5 or myself, being that I am specifically just for Region 5. I'm Region 5's financial specialist, but just in case I'm out or anything and nothing, you know, nothing is getting held up, we always ask that you go ahead and send it to the RTP email address. RTP roles, RTP financial specialist role, we audit the final FFR, checks and balances. We make sure whatever has to match the last amendment matches the last amendment. We check our system, which is CDW, and see what your fund says on your SF 425. We open ASAP accounts as needed. Accounts receivable, if you've overspent and you owe the EPA funds, then the accounts receivable team will be sending you a bill to repay those funds. And then we post all FFRs in an internal system. It used to be NGGS. Now we have a new system that we're putting all the FFRs in. Returning funds. If you have to return funds, return ACH payment feature via ASAP. If you have to return funds and it's been within the last 32 days, you can go into ASAP and return those funds. Okay, just do a reversal. Any other time, if you want to, you can go on pay.gov, and that's what the EPA prefers and recommends. And also, you can use the Postal Service and send a check or something like that if necessary. Okay, pay.gov, like I said, EPA prefers and recommends pay.gov. It's US Treasury, free, secure portal for payments to federal agencies. It is web-based. There's no sign-in account required. It is available 24/7, 365, and all you would need is your grant number. And then everything else will work itself out. Receivable debts must be refunded within 30 days from the initial bill. Once they send you a bill out, if you owe the EPA funds, please repay those funds as soon as possible. If not, interest, admin, and penalty charges are assessed. State and local and tribal governments are exempt to that. Debts will be referred to the U.S. Department of Treasury for collection activity within 120 days of initial bills that's being very delinquent. Please don't do that. They will stop you from receiving any more grants, and we don't want that to happen. Like I said, pay.gov, definitely the best way. Return funds via ASAP if drawn within the last 32 days. And this is the address to the EPA if you want to send any checks in. Contact info for ASAP. And as everybody already knows, this is our box that we receive all our emails from here at RTP. Okay. Anybody got any questions? Went really quick through that.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, thank you for going through that. Does anyone
Yes.
have any immediate questions? Feel free to hop off the mic. And Andre, I think you can probably stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
I'm seeing myself
And
3 times and I don't, I'm not a fan.
Okay. Anybody, if you don't have any questions in the chat, I put my email address. So if you just want to email me any questions, you can do that as well. Like I said, I'm definitely here to help. I want to make everybody's grant process as painless as possible.
I have a question.
Yes.
Please.
So just signing into the regular grant site for the government was a tedious task. And there's 6 steps to this enrollment. Is it as convoluted and difficult?
Being that I've never done it before, I've heard some people say it was fairly easy and some people say it was difficult for them. If they are doing it within the time frame, then I don't think it'll be difficult at all. And with our assistance and with ASAP's assistance, it's, to me, I don't see how they can go wrong, even though it does happen. But as long as they're not waiting to the last minute, now they're trying to jump through all these hoops before the ASAP enrollment gets deleted, then I think they'll be fine.
Okay, I'm going to trust you on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
We also have a question in the chat from Mark. Is there any other online tutorials or trainings that are available for the different steps of the process?
ASAP definitely has them. If they log into ASAP, ASAP has some tutorials on there that can help with the process, depending on what steps he's talking about specifically. If they don't have them, if he get in touch with me, I'll send him everything I got.
Okay, you liked your own comment, so I think you're good, maybe. But if you have any other follow-up questions, Mark, let me know. Are there any other questions right now? I actually have one for you, Andre. I know for the ASAP drawdowns, you're not supposed to hold on to funds longer than 5 days without dispersing it. Would you be able to speak a little bit about maybe if that is the same for all entities, or depending on what type of entity you are, if that's different?
Now, the only one I know that it's different for is state. State is the one actually that can draw all their funds, and it's fine. We don't even send them an email, but everyone else has to go by the rules of that policy. But state, if you're a state entity, you can draw all your funds down all at one time.
Thanks. And when you receive FFRs, and just so for people online who may not have heard of a FFR before, it's a federal financial report. And a lot of these forms also go by other names. So this is like the SF or standard form 425.
Yeah.
And I dropped the link to a bunch of grantee forms in the chat. What are some common things that you see on those forms that is a reason why they get returned, or people have to make edits to it?
Things now, I can, you want me to show you something real quick? Hold on.
That'd be great.
Okay. Let me see here. Wasn't prepared for this, but being that I've got everybody, I can show it real quick. All right. Revise, void. Okay, let me show everybody my screen. Okay, everybody, let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. What we do is everything on an SF 425 or FFR, same thing, FFR, but it's a SF 425 is the form. Okay, we go by whatever's on the award itself. Okay, so we make sure that the grant number is correct. We make sure that the name of the organization is correct. The EIN. It must say, if it's a final, it must say final. And then the dates must match what's on the award. Now, anything here and up, we can fix. We don't need a revised SF 425 or anything. We can just send you an email, let you know, hey, this was incorrect. We'll be correcting it just to let you know for your records, you can update it. Okay. Everything below on 10 below has to be accurate. Okay. So when it comes down to here, this is 10D, the total funds authorized. It must match whatever is on the award, okay? And then in 10E and G, it's going to be how much you actually spent from what was authorized, the federal funds, okay? And then whatever is left over will be right here. And this is what we deobligate and send back to the program. So for this grant, it'd be $10.07. The recipient share, if it's not 100% federally funded and the recipient share 10I should match whatever the recipient share costs is on the award, the last amendment, okay? 10J will be how much you actually spent from your recipient funds. This one, the recipient share was 125. They actually spent more than what was necessary. They spent 26,000 and some change. Okay. Then we go down here. Something that's recently come up is indirect costs. I've been working here now for a little over 3 years, and probably about 8 months ago, they started having us check the award for indirect expenses. If the recipient has received indirect expenses, this section must be filled out or we'll kick it back. Okay. And vice versa. If they have this section filled out and it doesn't say that on award, we'll kick it back because they have to take it off. All right. This part has to match the award whether you receive it or not. All right, if we go down further, we look for everything filled out. As far as the signature goes, it needs to be a wet signature or a digital signature. It can't be typed or the Adobe signature. It has to be a wet signature or a digital signature. And those are the things we'd kick it back for as far as a SF425 or FFR goes.
Thanks. And I actually just have a quick question. And
Mhm.
this may just be from my side as a project officer.
Okay.
I think from the past, I saw some like change listed. I thought we don't usually accept the change, or we just round to the nearest whole number. So is that true? Should grantees be rounding to the nearest whole number, or are
On
we okay
here,
with that?
no, never round. Nope.
Okay, gotcha.
You say exactly what you use, because these are never going to have cents in them, because it's going to match the award. The award is never going to have change. So these two numbers will never have change. But if you spent change, put that on there. Okay. Yeah. If you spent change, put it on there, because when we go look in CDW or oh, I have a brain fart on what CDW stands for.
Compass Data Warehouse.
Thank you.
Yep, and this
Thank
is
you.
internal for the people.
Yes. Yes. When you go look at Compass Data Warehouse, this is the amount that's going to be there. It's not going to be rounded up. It's going to have 93 cents on it. Okay. If it's accurate. So we want it to be accurate.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Does anyone have questions on this form?
I do.
Mhm.
Andre
Great.
said a wet signature, so like an image of a wet signature, like a picture of a wet signature, would that work? Or do you really have to have like the hard copy?
Long as it looks authentic, we're gonna take it. Long as it doesn't look like like this. It's not showing my signature on here for some reason. Like that. That is the Adobe signature. We can't take that. So this one right here, you know, that looks wet to us. We'll take that. I don't know if that answered your question good.
It did. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Anything else? Or if you have other financial related questions, you may want to ask. Anything in particular about drawdowns, any other general grantee questions we can maybe help you with. These are required at a minimum of yearly for your grants. And it'll say the time frame in your award term and conditions. You may have to, sometimes terms and conditions are buried in a link, but I think this one's pretty clear on the award. And then it's due 120 days after the project period and budget period closeout.
Right.
As your final FFR.
Mhm.
So can you maybe clarify what you said? You said, so if I draw down, say, $10,000, I need to be able to attest that I spent that $10,000 in 5 days?
If $10,000 is what all your award is, if your whole award is for $10,000, that's how much you got awarded totally.
No,
Then
no, that's like 5% of the total.
no, let's throw out, let's say $100,000 is what you got awarded. As long as you're not spending no more than $89,999 at that one time, which is not 90%, then you're fine. If you spend 90,000, then we're going to question it. And like I said, most people, they don't just spend the 90, they spend it all. So we're going to send an email wondering, did you spend that 100,000 or that plus 90% within the allotted 5 days. If you said, well, we only spent 40,000 of it, then we're going to ask for 60,000 back for you
So
to use.
Is the intention for this to then be more reimbursement? Like you want us to expend the money and then ask for the funds versus getting the funds prior to spending the money?
That is strictly up to you. We're not going to tell you how to go about how you want to go about being reimbursed. You know, that is strictly up to you. We just don't want you to want it to go overboard, which is 90 or above.
Okay, thanks.
We also have a question in the chat. Are there alerts for when reporting needs to be done?
There are alerts when the final FFR needs to be done. We have an automated system that sends it out. So after the awards close, it is sent it out, I want to say weekly. It is sent it out, and we'll be sending it out too. You know, but the automated, it definitely comes before our email, our personal email does. So yes.
Okay.
Now, as far as interim and annual, no, we don't have anything that lets you know that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know Carter's on the line, so I hope you perked up when you heard your name. But maybe this is something that we'd be able to help grantees out with, and we do automate some notifications already to grantees. So perhaps if that will be helpful to you all, and we have the capability and resources to do so, maybe we could send automatic notifications. You know, whether that's the 1 year has passed and your FFR is due to RTP, like 90 days or 120 days.
Mhm.
120
days after it
Yeah,
ends.
we may be able to help that. All right, we see that that could be helpful, so we can definitely look into that. Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, if you think of any, Andre put his email in the chat. And I think since this is being recorded, I'll be able to share this afterwards, and as well as the links and different contact information. Andre, I want to thank you so much for coming and helping us. I hope grantees, you found this helpful, and we'll be here if you have any other additional questions.
Yes.
Great. Thank you all.
Have a good day, everybody.